Okay, so today all we're doing is reviewing. Okay, we're just reviewing what we already learned before break, which was distributive property, right? Some teachers call it FOIL. I just like to call it distributive property. When we have a binomial times a binomial, and especially when you have a binomial squared, I expect you guys to write it twice. So n plus 3 times n plus 3. And then I would like you to distribute one term at a time. What do I mean by that? We have two terms right here, right? We have the n and we have the 3. Let's first just distribute the n. We're going to ignore the 3 and say n times n is n squared. And when you guys distribute, I would like to see some arrows. So n times n is n squared. And then n times 3, that is positive 3n, because 3n is the same thing as 3 times n. Daniela. And then we distribute 3 times n, and we get another positive 3 times n, which is just 3n. And then we finally get 3 times 3, that is a positive 9. And after you distribute, then you combine like terms. So we look at the middle terms right there. We have a 3n right there and a 3n right there. Thank you. And when we combine 3n plus 3n, that is a total of 6 n's, right? So the final answer would be bringing down the n squared. That's a positive 6n, bringing down the plus 9. And that's it right there. That's your answer. N squared plus 6n plus 9. Again, we already know all this stuff. It's from before break. It's just an opportunity to practice. We really need to be pros at this stuff to be able to do what we're going to do next tomorrow, which is called factoring. Factoring is a reverse distributive property. So you really, really need to know how to distribute really well in order for you to be able to understand what factoring is. So again, we're going to start that tomorrow. Today, I just want you to practice with this worksheet. So we're going to jump around. Actually, you're going to do all of them, but on this example, I'm going to jump around. So if we go for like number 6 right here, again, we're going to distribute one term at a time. I want to take this a, and I'm going to distribute it to both terms. A times a is a squared. That's right. A times 5 is positive 5a. And then we could take this negative 5 right here and distribute it. Negative 5 times a, that's negative 5a. And then negative 5 times positive 5, that is a negative 25. So again, you always distribute first before combining like terms. That makes total sense because when you distribute, you're multiplying. And when you're combining like terms, you're just adding or subtracting. So you always multiply before adding or subtracting. So once again, when we look at these two middle terms, the positive 5a, take away 5a, what happens there? They eliminate. There's no more a's. They disappear. So your answer is a squared minus 25. Now, I know we knew a shortcut before break, but let's just practice writing it out. Let's practice writing it out, okay? Show me that the positive 5a and the negative 5a cancel out. Show me that they cancel out. So this is our answer. We want to practice and we want to show all of our work. It's pointless to just write down the answers that are written on the back of the worksheet. Totally pointless. I want to see some arrows. I want to see some arrows. I want to see this written out. I want to see you combining the middle terms. If they cancel out, I want to see lines through them. So I want to see the work, guys. Number 18. Let's write that twice. So there it is. W plus 3h to the second power is that base, w plus 3h times itself. W plus 3h times w plus 3h. And once again, we're just going to distribute. And again, I want to see all the work. So we're going to go w times w. What's that? W squared. And then w times 3h. Put the number first, 3, and it's positive because a positive times a positive is a positive. And then the w times h, you really can't do that. You're just going to write them together. And it's good to write them in alphabetical order. So let's put hw. Okay? So we already distributed this w. Now let's distribute this positive 3h. Positive 3h times w. Again, you're just going to rewrite it, but put it in alphabetical order. Plus 3hw. And then positive 3h times positive 3h. Well, positive 3 times positive 3 is positive 9. And h times h is h squared. So once again, we distribute first, And then after that, we combine the terms that are alike, which in this case are the middle terms, 3HW plus 3HW. And what do we get? 3 plus 3? 6. Positive 6 HW. Let's bring down the W squared, bring down the plus 9H squared, and we are done. That's our answer right there. So we want to practice this whole worksheet, guys, the whole thing.
How come sometimes doing tests or quizzes?
Let's try number 23. Again, we're going to distribute one term at a time. I'm going to distribute this 3y first. 3y times 3y. 3 times 3 is 9. And then y times y is y squared. So I now need to distribute the 3y to the second term over here, which is a positive 3g. So 3 times 3, that's positive 9. And then when you look at y times g, you just put them together. But instead of yg, we're going to go gy, alphabetical order. And then, now that we've already distributed the 3y, now let's distribute this minus 3g. And it's important that you include the sign that's in front. So you really have a minus 3g times a positive 3y. Well, negative 3 times a positive 3 is a negative 9. And then the g times y, that's really just gy. And it's already in alphabetical order. So now we're going to distribute that negative 3g to the other term, negative 3g times positive 3g. So negative 3 times positive 3 is negative 9. G times g is g squared. All we need to do now is combine like terms, the ones that are in the middle. And as you probably already noticed, all the terms are either going to cancel out or they're going to double, right? Because these are the special cases. But like I said, I want you to actually think about it because it'll help you get prepared for the next section. When you combine a positive 9gy with a negative 9gy, they cancel out. So what do we have left? We have 9y squared minus 9g squared. And that's it. So let's continue practicing. We're going to do 1 through 26. You should finish before class ends.